Good morning. Today we're going to do some butt exercises, or booty exercises as I like to call it. So our gluteus maximus, our butt muscles, are the largest muscles in our entire body. So when we work them, we start to feel heat in the body relatively quickly. We can start feeling our heart rate elevate, and we can get a really good workout in a short amount of time. So let's get started. Some of the poses you will see in this workout are mountain pose with hands at the side, forward fold, chair pose, warrior 3, tabletop pose, child's pose, downward facing dog, lunge, locust pose, bridge pose, and side plank. Starting in mountain pose, bend forward at the hips to forward fold. Here we're doing deadlifts, so hinging at the hips, touching the floor, coming up, squeezing the glutes. We're doing that 10 times. Last one, make sure to give it a good squeeze at the top. Now we're coming into chair pose. Make sure your feet are rooted and arches are lifted. Lift your heels off the floor. Draw your lower belly in and up. Glutes should be engaged, your shoulders back, and your hands reach overhead. Keep your arms straight here. If you can sit any lower in your chair, this is the time to do it. Come out of your chair, placing your heels back to the earth. Forward fold, and then hinge at the hip. Up and down, up and down, back into our deadlifts here, making sure our back is flat when our hands hit the floor, and we're coming up, squeezing our glutes at the top. We're doing a total of 10 here. And on our last one, keep our hands to the earth. Step the right leg back and up into warrior 3, getting your balance here. If you can, taking your hands off the floor, grabbing your ankle. If you need, putting your hands back to the earth. Other side, right leg up. Again, playing with that balance if you want here. Some sides are a little less steady, so be kind to yourself. Coming down to your hands and knees now. We are going to be in tabletop position, and we're going to lift our right knee out towards the side. This is called a fire hydrant. We're going to do 10 here. Once we finish the last one on the right, we're going to come in and lift that left knee out, engaging the left glute. 10 here. Once we finish on the left side, we're going to go ahead and lift our right leg off the ground and go into donkey kicks. Keeping the foot flexed, lifting that leg up to 90 degrees, coming back in, but making sure not to rest the knee to the floor. We have 10 here. Once we've done our last one, we're going to bring our leg up again, and we're going to do baby pulses here at the top for 10. And when you've completed your last one, go ahead and press your hips back to the floor to take a few deep breaths in child's pose. If it feels better to rest in down dog, lift your hips to the ceiling. Come into tabletop and then start your mule kicks on the left side for 10. Once you've completed your last one, we have those baby pulses here on the left. So bringing the leg up and pushing up for 10. It burns so good. Again, pressing your hips back to sit in child's pose, taking some breaths here, or in down dog, whatever is more relaxing, just catch your breath here. Then step your left leg forward, and you're going to be in a crescent pose here, bending that back right leg and bending down into it for 10. Make sure to lift the pelvic floor, your pubic bone is forward, and your hips are square. Step that back leg forward into forward fold, and then lift the right leg for warrior 3. Playing with your balance here if you want. Bringing that right leg down and then lifting it back for 10. Then we're going to hinge up at the hips and another set of 10 deadlifts. Folding forward, coming up, squeezing your glutes at the top. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side, so step that left leg back into a lunge. Sometimes your balance can be tricky on one side, so just getting it right and then coming down for those 10 pulses. And when you're done with those, just coming forward to a forward fold. Sit the hips back in chair position. Lift the heels off the floor and engage the glutes. Then coming forward to a forward fold and stepping back on the right, lifting the right leg off the floor into warrior 3. Playing with your balance here if you want. And then doing the 10 leg lifts on that left side, holding your ankle if you want for more balance, or you can bring those hands down to the ground and just lift from here. And when you're done, coming down to your hands and knees and making your way onto your belly. Then we're going to lift our chest and come into locust pose. Arms are parallel to the floor, or they can lift off the floor, clasping behind the back. Legs can lift up off the floor too, if that feels good. Lowering back down when your back needs a break. Press yourself up onto your hands and knees. Flip your feet around, come onto your booty, and roll back into bridge pose, making sure that your weight is in your feet and your head, not your neck. Pressing your hips towards the ceiling, engage the glutes and come into bridge. Once the glutes are engaged at the top, lower the hips back to the floor and repeat this 10 times. After your 10th bridge, hold your pelvis at the top and do pulses here for 10. When you're done, you can stretch your legs overhead and roll yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Once you're there, roll onto your hands and knees, take a breath there. Walk your feet back to a high plank position and then position your left hand under your left shoulder and bring your right arm up to the sky. This is side plank position. If this isn't attainable, you can drop your left knee down to the earth, or you can come on to the right elbow and forearm, lifting the hips if that makes sense. Coming back down to all fours and coming around to the other side. Lifting the hips here on the forearm, reaching the arm up, being on the knee if you need, or getting those legs straight, dropping the hips down if you want to come into the full version of side plank here. Lifting that top leg if you want a little bit more challenge. When you're ready, come back to all fours and drop your hips back to child's pose. Take a few deep breaths here, or shoot your hips up to the ceiling and be in down dog for a couple relaxing breaths. And when you've caught your breath, come back into a comfortable seated position. I hope you enjoyed your butt workout.